What's up, little bros and mother truckers? Back here with another build, another going second build, but with the Poker Knights flavor of deck. It is pretty shit. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. It's not very good. it's uh, it's just filled to the brim with garnets. But I have made it my mission. I love shit decks sometimes, and this is one of those shit decks that I have made it my mission to make as not shit as humanly possible, although there is nothing I can do about it. This deck is really cool. It has some really interesting things. It's heavily limited though, and I could talk for ages of why it's so fucking garbage. Firstly, Joker Straight. Why does it have a limitation? Why are you limited to the light warriors? Why not just light? Why not just warriors? Why light warriors? Do you know how many fucking good light warriors are on this game? Like zero. We have all of them in the extra deck. That's all the ones that are good are already in our extra deck, except for Isolde, but we're not playing Isolde. The point is, it's shit. It's fucking garbage. It's really good though. You still have to play it. It's like your best card. It's just fuck me, dude. So bad. The boss monster should have been a quick effect. Why is it not a quick effect? It's like horrible to use in almost any situation, but I'm playing it because she's a mother. And I love mothers. I'm going to say it. I'm a woman enjoyer. Sue me. You know what I'm saying? This card is very easily not played in this deck, though. Honestly, I would suggest you not play it. Almost always, it's just going to be a brick. But when it works, you feel vindicated. I feel vindicated. Jack's Knight, you gotta play one. It's the worst to draw, but you gotta play it. Queen's Knight, 3 of them. I'm a fan. Like, this card is okay. It's nice. There was lots of like tiny hints of normal monster support hidden through the deck, or hidden through the ages of this game. So that's the main reason why we're gonna see some weird choices here or there. But Queen's Knight is sort of our little tiny engine, if you will. It's the main facilitator for everything. You need Queen's Knight for Joker Straight. You need it to be in your deck for Joker Straight. We're going to use it with Ringo Worm because this card is actually kind of busted for this deck. We're going to use it for Bower because they're 2 level 4s. We're going to use it for BLS because we need to send 2 level 4s, normal monsters. We use it for a lot of things. We use it for Joker's Knight if we have King's Knight in hand so that we can trigger King's Knight. It's basically the main fulcrum of the deck. It's very important. It's just really, it's a garnet that you play 3 of because you don't actually want to draw it. It's kind of, why is it working that way? You know what I mean? Like, why are we so limited? Why does everything hurt when you play this deck? But it's a reality, one it hurts, it cuts deep. Joker's Knight is just a nice little extender, counts as any name. Now, we're not playing Joker Straight or Thunder Speed Summon, so the name stuff doesn't matter too much. It only matters really for King's Knight. The reason we're not playing these cards, even though they're okay, quote-unquote, okay at going second, is because they're just too garnety. They're just, like, the worst kind of cards to draw. They don't, like, Joker, Royal Straight is okay, but the Royal Straight Slash is just horrible to draw. And he's, like, not even that good either. Just easily negate bait, to be honest. And like you have to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 3 and we have 4 and we have 5. We have a 2 now. But the ones I was playing, I was trying it with Magician Souls and it kind of was okay. It's just it just sucks. Magician Souls really doesn't do very much for you. It's like okay at fixing your hand, but really it's like only okay. It just sucks. It's just not very good. It feels really bad that I can't play Joker's Wild. Having that option of it recurring is so nice, and like if your hand is shit, which it will be at times, having it is at least an access point to Joker Straight, and then you have 2 cards, immediately that is shuffling around and giving you card advantage. But unfortunately, it's just too slow. In a going second strategy like this, having a trap is just too slow. King's Knight, right? There's nothing more to talk about it. We have to play 2. Just drawing it means that we don't really have combo with anything, so we have to play 2 just in case we do draw one of them. Joker Straight, great. Called by Ash. We hate Ash around here. It just fucks us really hard. So we have a decent amount of Ash bait, but at the same time, we would prefer it to not exist. Ring of Worm is insane for this deck because it reads if you control an effect monster on the board, which is Queen's Knight, which we will, a lot of the times, so because we have many ways to getting to it. Even if we just hard draw it, it special summons itself for free from the hand. And then, if you use it as a synchro summon, you can banish it to summon a token that counts as a tuner or a non-tuner. So, fun little activities there. And we happen a brand new one coming in the newest set, Cyberstorm Access. Oh, both of these cards are coming from that. It's soon enough that I felt that I could add them. It's a Light Warrior. Huzzah! Huzzah! A Light Warrior. And because we're doing a 2 and a 4, we get to draw one. Huzzah! Advantage! We're not totally eating shit right now. And we play 2 of them because if we do have to use Joker straight before we use Ringo Worm, we get Queen's Knight and we get King's Knight. And since there's no good Light Warrior level 8s, dude, there are 2 of them and they are horrible. Lightning Warrior and Signal Warrior, and both of them are fucking trash. So instead, I thought it'd be better just to summon the second one, even though it's a hard once per turn, unfortunately, and then overlay for Photon Strike Bouncer, because this is a Light Warrior. How the fuck does that make sense? It's literally made out of fucking photon, but that's fine. It works for us. It's a negate, a pretty shit one to be honest, because it only negates, does not destroy things that activate on the board and not in the hand. It has really low attack as well, although not super low, 27, but low enough. But it is what it is, right? It's we are eating what we can eat, you know. We're putting it up with it. So this card's really good, and the reason why we have a bunch of 7s is the same reason. And if for instance, we don't have to, we don't get locked, and we have already a Queen's Knight on board, we can just summon it to summon this, and then we can use that to go into Crystal Wing, because the 6 and the 2 is 8, and because it's a synchro non-tuner, we get Crystal Wing. And then the 7s are for Joker's Knight, in case we have these 2 in our hand, because Joker's Knight is an extender. That works well, so we don't even have to use this as an extender. We can just normal summon it. We don't actually normal summon that much in this deck, besides really just a Bower or maybe Queen's Knight. Or King's Knight if we have Joker's Knight to take the name of Queen's Knight. That's like it. So plenty of opportunities for these 2 to work together, and we have just some generic shit that works together. If we need a negate, we have a negate. If we need to banish something, we have a banish. These are both lights, so this does fulfill the requirements. And then if we need a board wipe, we get a board wipe, right? Nothing more to talk about that. We play Arcana extra Joker just to get them shits off our board if we get locked, because there's going to be times when there's really nothing that's worth making. And technically this has like some recoverability when it's destroyed by battle, but it doesn't really matter too much. The targeting the gate is just so stupid. It's so stupid. It's just ass, more ass. But yeah, that's the reason why it's there, just to get them into the graveyard. That way we can re-trigger our Joker straight or our Joker's Knight again. Shuffle them and get some advantage going again. Lightning Storm because it's the best going second card in the deck. Bower because it's our best normal summon. 2 level 4s means that we can potentially go into a Zeus, Chakra 9 into Borbo into Zeus, which is 2 activations, 4 materials. It also is directly into our Utopia double, which we are playing double or nothing. It is also Star Liege if we are locked into Light Warriors, and this card's meh, very meh. You could technically play UFD, the Utopic Future Draco, or whatever it's called, because this is Light Warrior, Draco Future, but it's just very meh. The only time that combo is going to come up is if you have Bower and you have straight, and you're just making UFD pretty much at that point. You're not going for an OTK. And while, yeah, it can come up, we're really, really tight for space in this extra deck that I felt like I ended up replacing them for the Zoo package. I just felt like it was better. Reinforcement to get into more cards. Droplet just because it's a good going second card. We have some decent sends, good enough that it's fine. Harpies because Harpies. Eventual Ritual Art for our boy BLS. It's a brand new card coming out within tomorrow. So it's OCG right now, but on the 10th, which is the 9th right here, it will be officially out in the TCG anyway. So basically, the only reason we're playing this card is because we're playing going second, so it works out well for this card. And 2, we have a perfect send for its normal monster only requirement to shuffle back everything. And during the battle phase, your opponent cannot use anything. So this card just sort of becomes like an issue that they have to deal with. It's a good Ash bait, just because it's not our main facilitator for our deck. And also, so it says that we give up our draw phase by using its effect, but if it does get Ash, we still get our draw, so it's not that big a deal. And honestly, losing the draw is not that big a deal either if we have this in hand. Like I said, it's a great, like, it forces your opponent to have to respond. Even if you go directly in the battle phase, even if we're not with TKing, if it wipes your opponent's board, I would say that's just as good. Obviously, we have to be able to attack over something that has over 3k, that under 3k, but 3k is quite high. So I feel like that's very possible, very doable. I would say it's just a good, like a good issue. There are times though it's going to be a bit of a heavy burden. Having to send 2 Queen's Knight sometimes is a bit much. And there's going to be janky times. You're going to drawing 1, you're drawing 2, and you have this combo, and you're like, well, I can't trigger it, and I can't also trigger Joker straight, and I also like can't do Bower. You know, it's just too many things that need it. But it's rare, I would say. It doesn't happen too often. It's worth playing, in my opinion, unless you can find a better going second card. But I tried a bunch of them, and they really just don't work. Evenly Matched doesn't work super well in this deck. We're trying to OTK, really, with the Utopia double, if we can, because while we can follow up, we don't have follow-up interruption. That's a rarity in this deck, and we're really pushing the boundaries for that as well. And so we can't use Evenly Match. And the same reason why I can't really use Dark Ruler no more. I mean, you can. It works better with BLS than it does not using BLS to use it. So I feel like it's good enough. It feels like I'm LARPing a little bit. Like, oh, Yorgi uses these cards and he uses BLS, but it actually works really well. I feel like if there's a deck that can facilitate this card more than any others, it's kind of this deck, which is hilarious. Pankratops, because it's just, you know, the gold standard for going second cards. Imperm, Ashes. I was playing Unexpected Die, but I felt like it was hurting me more than it was helping me. It's just another thing that uses Queen, and it does not work well with Bower. Neither of them want to work together, so I was like, you know what, Bower's just better to begin with, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Yeah, I feel like I covered everything. Pleiades is for the 2 level 5s that we have here. Blight Warriors, both of them, including Pleiades. I have some replays I can show, just to show a little bit of what the deck can do. I mean, I can show you some test hands, but they're going to be ass. This one's pretty good, actually. Our draw phase, we don't have to show the 6th card because our draw phase will be the search in that particular instance. This is horrible. Double Queen's Knight, you know, double vanilla. What can you do? This is pretty meh. Drawing the double or nothing sucks, but drawing these 2 together is really good. And honestly, this hand's actually nutty, except for the double or nothing. It's because you can just normal summon, and then this will trigger. And we have the discard fodder with the double or nothing, and then we just go boop, bank, right? We get the draw 1, which is really nice. And before we draw jacks, okay. I mean, it's not great, but right, bink. Hey, we got a Crystal Wing. We can do this first to maybe try to force some things out before we decide to use BLS, and we also have Joker straight. Unfortunately, we drew the double or nothing, so that kind of sucks. I mean, I guess we can still get the 5k, right? Can we even get up? No, yeah, but we can only do, we can't summon the Utopia double, and then we get a Jack Snipe for free. And then this whole time, if this was turn 2, we'd still have BLS active to us. Actually, no, we wouldn't. We would have to choose because I forgot we opened Queen's Knight. He needs 2. So that really sucks. So I guess you decide. Which one do you want? But I guess in some ways this could potentially be game, right? Since this would guarantee do at least 3k damage, and if we're negating something, we're doing more than 3k. This would do 5k attack damage, and we have an extra 19 here as well. Okay, right? This is fucking whatever, right? We had a 6th card as well here. Double Ash is whatever. Double Lightning Storm is pretty whatever. A 6th card would need to be any of our knights, just so we could facilitate this card, or, you know, reach engine. The reinforcements is useless when we have Bower, to be honest. Pink is nice. These have been pretty decent hands. This is not too bad. This is okay. Bower to initially bait anything. We have the straight still, so we can still go into double as well as Pleiades here. This is also just kind of useless in Ash bait, really. This kind of sucks. Obviously, lots of doubles. We basically have 3 cards in our hand because 2 of them can't use at the same time. I guess one of them's a discard fodder. I would actually discard the straight just because 2 cards that are cycling at once. Save the Bower, I guess. But we do have the worm, but we have no going second cards, which kind of sucks. Try to get about wow. All 3 of the worst cards to draw. So that's what you're working with. That's what this deck is capable of. The power. Anyways, I'll show you some replays. Some good ones and some unfortunate ones. So I was testing it against current tier limits. It's, you know, it does okay. This is okay. This is back when I had one unexpected die before I put in the third Ash. So this could have been an Ash. It worked out here, but, you know, maybe not necessary. The mills sucked here. Because that could be anything, to be honest. So this is one instance that maybe unexpected die is worth playing over the Ash. I don't know. I just really felt like it was more so useless. This was like a very particular instance where it had its use. And we just drew another going second card. Doesn't matter. We get rid of the back row just so it doesn't trigger the Scream. Because we can negate their whole board and we just don't want them to be able to potentially have a play. Obviously they get the search here. It doesn't matter. It's a trap. And then we are free to make double. When we swing for game onto their 0 attacker, we could literally attack any of them for game. I mean, I could play it anyways, it doesn't really matter. They're going to attempt to do it. So, you know, there it is, right? Nothing more. And we have Jack for a bit of damage that can come up. Nothing too spectacular. Game, I mean, this isn't a huge combo deck. The most important thing is really sequencing. Using your resources appropriately. Now this is an unfortunate game. So this hand is actually pretty good. We have a potential going second card. We have a reinforcement army, which could be Bauer. Unfortunately, King's Knight just sucks here. BLS, great, right? We don't need our draw anyways. We pretty much have everything. And then we have Ringo Worm, so we can actually search Queen's Knight instead with the third copy of Queen's Knight. Just so we don't have to trigger anything on board, and we could just immediately start going into our plays, which does matter against this here, actually. But they get a very high roll board, like very, very high roll. So we just let them play. I mean, I don't need to explain any of this. It's just tier stuff. Just tier, right? There is potential for it to help us, but because we get sent double straight, so we could get that in our hand, but as you're going to see, they are going to mill this shuffler, so it doesn't matter. They get rid of them. We don't get that benefit there. And then, yeah, just combo. Redoer sends for effect, so it triggers the Sheeran, and then just you make Kaleido Heart here. They get one last good high roll to send the Havness, which makes the last bit of the fusion that they need. And then they have the Redoer, and then they have the Negate, and then they could banish with this, and they have the Omni Negate. Many things. So first things we can do is stop the Omni Negate, so guarantee trigger our BLS. So we have the BLS in the pocket. They're going to get a draw one, doesn't matter. We're going to search the Queen's Knight, so we can just trigger things immediately. They're going to get a draw for something, they don't get anything. Ringo Worm, Trias Master, and then this we're going to trigger the Solic, and they're going to get the draw one. I mean, it's probably a good idea. And then the Kaleido to banish it. And then, but also to trigger the Sheeran so that they get rid of the card that didn't trigger for another negate. If they didn't have that, we would have actually a chance of clearing their board, but they did have it. And while we have a 7 here, I mean, they have enough negates. This is another negate, and then this is just going to get Root Kolos negated. We're out of... They had one too many, and we're out of juice. But as you can see, I mean, it did stuff, right? Even when we got our draw one negated, even when our card got banished or sent, even when, you know, we still had that level. Because this, even though this says it's a tuner, it is a tuner. Because the effect says that the token, if treated as a synchro material, can be used as a tuner or non-tuner. So this would have been a 7. It's just that it would have been negated by the Dragostapelia, and then the summon itself is negated by the Root Kolos, so they just had to, all they needed to do was save that, and then we would have been screwed. So that's what they did, and we were screwed. Otherwise, I would have gone into the banish one to get rid of the Root Kolos, then had an open board for BLS to wipe, and then they pretty much would have been screwed, like extremely screwed. But it didn't matter, obviously. We lost that. There's one more replay I guess I could show, might as well while I'm here. This is against the bot, the Sword Soul bot. The bot makes like obvious mistakes, but this time they didn't. It's just their hand was also decent. I mean, decent, quote unquote. I mean, we had double hand trap, so um, it is what it is. It's just an instance of BLS being good, right? BLS doing its thing, and while it's weak against certain things like that it has light immunity or light built into it, so we can't use our lights, which actually does matter. But the BLS is a bit of a crutch in that instance. Gonna use that effect instead of our draw. Obviously, having the harpies there is kind of a very nice. But the thing is, I would have anticipated that being that, so I would have just not summoned this. I only summoned it with the unexpected die just because for the extra damage. It doesn't do fucking anything else, to be honest. So I could have just anticipated it, and the thing is about Blackout, it needs 2 targets, so even if that wasn't harpies, we still would have been in a good shot. And so even if this unexpected die was another Ash, which probably would have been better even than having her randomly on the board here, but I did have the harpies, so I felt confident in going all in. And then at this point, it gets rid of the follow-up that it has by just shuffling it away, and then they're in a top deck scenario, which they top deck their best top deck, but if anything, it doesn't amount to anything. Just a negate and another pot, and as you can see, I have a negate now, so it doesn't matter. And if they summon something, I would have shuffled away at whatever as well. And they did get a starter, but you're going to see that they have no other targets. They have a long one. It didn't matter. I had the imperm, and it would have specifically been Taya, and I guess Taya would have got to that, but I would have just saved it for the searcher anyways. So, I mean, that's the deck. It's not super complicated. I did fine-tune it. It's taken me a couple hours to fine-tune, like over the course of 2 days. Just to really meddle down and figure out what I want and what I don't want. But yeah, if I had to say if there's anything I could fix this deck, it's fucking sealing. This deck has a huge cost for its engine due to the prevalency of bricking, drawing fucking garnet, shit you just don't want in your hand. And they created possibly one of the worst cards. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, Court of Cards. This card is awful. They're like, oh, okay, so we get it that that these cards are bricks in today's meta. How about we give you a mulligan by banishing them? And if you do banish them, you get to draw. But it's also on a fucking trap card. So, you know, the turn that you're drawing this card with all your fun little garnets, you get to wait a turn with all of them in your hand, including this trap card, which does nothing for you immediately either. Like, it makes no fucking sense. Like, okay, fucking garbage. I don't really understand what the point of this card was. This should have just been like what this should have been was like a spell card that said shuffle back 1 Queen's Knight, King's Knight, or Jack's Knight from your hand into the deck, draw 2. Infinitely better, right? But it's not. It would have been a good Ash bait. It would have done, you know, it would have given you a nice deck thin. All the above. Got rid of the garnets out of your hand, back into the deck where you want them. But instead, what we got instead was a fucking really mediocre trap card. One of the worst support cards I think I have ever seen. I don't know whose special day it was to bring into the office their mentally invalid kid to design this card, but they let him go at it, right? And he did go at it, and has ruined my experience as such. Regardless, I'm done. Still like the deck. I think it's fun. It's just not very good. See ya.